Astral Chain is, well, it's an experience. When I first saw the trailer way back in the day, I got really excited. It had that anime aesthetic that I love. It had a little bit of everything. I got super pumped, and I'm like, yo, that is a day one purchase for me. So when the game came out, here I was, holding in my hand a game of epic proportions. A game featuring mechs, robots, explosions, big eyeballs, and subtle customization. Now, that might be what I expected, but what I got was so much more. This game, Astral Chain, is essentially Slavery the video game. Like literally, like you have enslaved an alien and you make it fight for the police, and if it gets free, you have to fight it to get it back and re-enslave it with the chains. As a black person in America, that was kind of a weird notation to just kind of pull out of the game. But I was like, you know what? It can't be that bad, so I kept playing. And despite the interesting theme, this is probably one of the more surprising games I've played in 2019. Now, what I thought I was going to get was a button-smashing, madcap action. And if you're looking at the screen right now, you're probably looking at the action and you're going, holy crap, what's happening? Well, you feel that way sometimes because the camera doesn't always stay focused. And even when you do lock on to your opponent, the camera still goes in crazy directions. But it's still part of the fun because at least you know from the screams that you're doing something right. Now, this game has a lot of character, it has a lot of depth to it, it has a lot of puzzles, it has a lot of forced training missions, and at first I'm like, I don't want to do these training missions, I want to get back to the action. But once you learn that the training is to teach you how to fight, and fighting in this game is integral, you'll be glad you went through those forced training missions. Those missions, if anything, are what get you into the idea that the combat isn't as intuitive as you thought it was when you first started playing. Initially when you start playing the game, it feels like you're gonna get the controls down immediately, and you do. But once a new mechanic is introduced, you probably want to learn it, because once those combatants and those fights get harder, you're going to want to know exactly what you're doing. You're going to use your Astral Chain to wrap around a few enemies, lock one down when you beat up the other. You're going to want to pull off these little side hustles that they don't tell you you're going to need when you first open up the game. Now, I may sound a little critical, but that's because I've actually found myself falling in love with this game the more and more I played it. The puzzles are pretty fun, and some of them are kind of frustrating, and to be honest, it reminds me of back in the day when I would play Zelda, and I required I required a guide to continue the game. I had a couple like that where I just got stuck, and I'm like, okay, how was I going to find that? Who in the world would know to look there? Who? Not me! But regardless of that, it didn't take away from the quality of the game. This is one of the prettiest Switch games I've seen in a very long time. Once the first setup starts, you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm playing this on the Switch. Much like Overwatch, which is dropping soon, y'all. Or it's already here. I don't want to date the video, so it could be either one. But my point being is that you're playing a game that you don't expect to play on this platform, and it works really well. Some of the puzzles do remind me of, again, Zelda. They do take me back to that time when video games made you think. You couldn't just press a few buttons and you couldn't just press a few buttons and skip to the cutscenes. But of course, actually, this does have an option for that. If you want to just watch the story and not really partake in the actual game, there is an actual option for that. But I'm telling you right now, you don't really want to do it. While this story is very addicting, the story is very good and does draw you in, I think it's worth it to actually play the game, to actually get involved, to actually feel like you're part of this thing we're calling Astral Chain. Again, this game made me go what the F a few times. There are some really weird mechanics in here, like toilet pixies and moments where they break for comedy. But that does not mean this game is not worth your time. You're getting way more content than you expected, and way more than you normally do in games like this. Mostly games like this are pretty short, but I think because the story kind of pass things out and the puzzles are hard enough, and you can also change the settings to make the game even harder, you find that you get what you pay for here. Astral Chain is a blast from the past, but also the future, where hopefully slavery is not okay. But even beyond that, this game is really fun, but please go in knowing that you're not just going to button smash your way. You're going to have to play. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to dedicate yourself to those training missions. You're going to have to learn how to fight. And that's why, my friends, I say go pick up Astral Chain right now. If you have a Switch, it's a game you can't miss. But this is my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. This is Chris, and I'll see you in the next one. However you teleport.